money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and take some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. An acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, it's time for hemp. Yeah.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I'm your host, Casper Leach. You are listening to the live broadcast all around the world on AmericanFreedomRadio.com and on AM/FM stations all across America. I want to give a big shout out to all of my friends up in Canada and say thank you to KDK Distributors for being nice enough to give us a grant to keep us loud, proud, and strong. Send my love to the hardworking activists in Japan. Know that our hearts are with you. If you want to make a donation to help, please go to DoctorsWithoutBorders.com. I know they could use your assistance in that country. On the program today, my joint host, Carey Burns. Hey, Carey, how's it going?
Hi, Casper. How you doing?
I am. Hi, Carey. I'm doing fine, thank you. And you and I have a joint guest who is working very diligently down in Australia, and he's making a difference in as much as he can. And we're going to be talking about his work there, and we're going to be talking about Payday Fridays. Every Friday here on Time for Hemp right now, we focus on the economy of re-legalization, and this economy is a huge bust for a lot of countries, and that is why we are making it a point today to have on the program such a hardworking activist, Paul Benhaim. Paul, thank you for taking time for hemp.
No worries. Good day.
Why don't you let people know what it is that you're doing down there in Australia?
Oh, well, I'm doing lots of things with hemp. First thing I'm doing right this very week and last week is actually planting the seed. That's where it all starts. It all comes from the seed, and we're planting the seed in the soil right now. I've got 2 crops growing this year for 2 particular uses, which I'll come to shortly. One is a more commercial crop, and the other one is for research and development. We're growing 6 different varieties of industrial hemp in the same crop. We're growing it actually in a heart shaped, so people can come and walk inside the heart, inside the love of hemp, and look around and see all the different varieties and the sizes and how they grow. I'm doing that at a hemp farm, which is a museum now. We have an industrial hemp museum. It's purely industrial hemp, this particular museum, and we wanted to show the general public, which we're now open to tours here in Australia, where people can come and visit the hemp farm, learn all about the different uses of industrial hemp, learn about all the different uses that I'm involved with, particularly bioplastics, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. Of course, the clothing, processing, growing, harvesting, building, and all the other different uses. So we're doing that as well. And I'm also focusing on the marketing of the end product. Because you can't grow hemp without having a market, and you can't. Well, America has proved otherwise, but you can market only in America with the product without growing it. Happily to Canadians, of course.
How many seed are you planting per square feet on that?
We're planting about 80 plants for our seed crops and up to about 200 plants, up a square meter, sorry, so I don't know the square feet, so I'm sure listeners can convert that, but 80 to 200 plants per square meter.
Because traditionally they planted around 40 seed per square foot. So you're probably right in line, because a square meter would be like 3 times that. So that would be between. I found it very interesting that they always said that you'd harvest about 6 tons of flower top material off an acre of hemp. But when I ran the numbers, that was only 3 grams per plant. And if you do 40 seed per square foot, you're looking at 1.7 million plants. That would only be 3 grams a plant. I'm thinking that it's really more close closer to about 50 tons per acre of actual flower tops, which would translate to more fuel and et cetera. But
well, we don't harvest the flowering tops per se, so I can't tell you that weight from experience. But.
Right.
So now, what does the government there think about everything that you're doing? I was my impression that your country was as upset about marijuana as our country.
They are generally, though they seem to understand the economics a little bit better than the North American government at this time. I.e., they're very happy to send me bills for everything that I do. They charge me for talking about it. They charge me for having a license for importing seed. I have to have another license for holding seed, and each of these licenses, of course, cost me lots of money. Then I have a license to plant the seed. Then I have to have a license for doing research with the seed. Then I have to have a license for processing the seed and storing the seed. And then I have to have a license for the businesses which go and then promote the seed. So the government is taking some money at every single step of the way, and they're probably making more than I am this year certainly in my research development projects and the hemp farm business.
How much seed do you get off of an acre or whatever weight wise?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to get basically 1 ton per hectare.
That's a low number actually compared to statistics that the government put out from the 40s when they did the Hemp for Victory period.
That's partly because we're not purely growing for seed. In our main crop, so we have a research and development crop which we grow, and we get it's relatively small, but we're growing lots of different things. The more commercial crop we're growing for seed and fiber, so we're growing what's called a dual crop. So we're purposely growing in between the seed and the fiber, so we get less seed and we get less fiber, but we get to use both parts of the plant.
Now, are you actually taking these plants and making the plastics and the fibers, and are you just making a variety of different products so that you can demonstrate to the world how much revenue can be generated and all the things that can be made very well with this plant? Is that what's going on here?
That's a good question, which I would love to be able to do. Sadly, not sadly, but it just practically, I guess, it can't all be done in one place. Not unless I was a millionaire, and I'm not yet, but I will be soon, I'm sure, from if I continue to grow hemp, because there are lots of possibilities from the hemp. And at the moment, I'm keeping investing. Every time I make a lot of money, I put it back into a next project. So I want to show which is why I'm able to show all these different uses without focusing purely on the commercial aspect at this time. And I've been supporting a lot of other people to get involved with the commercial aspect. So I'm making a lot of other people money, which I'm very glad to do, because we've got to share this crop. There's enough for a lot of people. There's so much space in the industry.
Now, with that said, I've often said on this particular program that if the legalization of marijuana were to kick in and this prohibition would end, there would be a dramatic shift of wealth in the world. Those who have would no longer have, and those who have not would suddenly have.
Now, I believe that's to do with, I guess, the deeper need of our global priorities, what we choose as a society to put as our highest priorities. Right now, in a consumeristic, capitalistic society, we seem to have chosen things like fast cars, which use lots of fuel, lots of plastic objects as our priority. When we start to realize that the things that we actually need do include fuel, of course, but, more of a more sustainable kind. And when we prioritize our planet and our Earth and the sustainability of that planet and on Earth for future generations, then I think the objects and the material things that we use will be slightly different. So, and which may move more away from the actual financial system as it stands. So I think there will be a transition where, of course, it will be part of the existing financial situation. But I don't know personally how long this financial situation in the planet will last. And I know that hemp will always be valuable for all of its uses, and that those uses will always be of value in whatever the value is in that world, whether it be money, whether it be gold, whether it be bath or what have you. We're always going to need food, fuel, fiber, medicine, and all of these other things that can come from industrial hemp.
Well, one of the things that's really kind of a joke is you're not going to make the money once, like Casper said, once cannabis is made legal and the prohibition ends and you can start growing hemp, the money's in the hemp. It's not going to be in the marijuana. The marijuana is going to be, you can almost give that away. It's not going to take very much to produce what America smokes if everybody smoked, but the real fortune is in the hemp and the hemp products and the fuel. I mean, you're looking at $1.5 trillion industry if we would just make it happen. And like you said, it can begin just by planting the seeds, and that's what I'm waiting on. Just, tell us we can plant the seeds. We'll show you. If you don't believe us, we'll show you that this can happen. But it's just a lot of ignorance.
The products that you make there?
Yeah, okay, so coming back to the products that we make there, at the moment we're focusing on food, building, and gardening products. That's what we're doing here from our current crops. The abilities to make numerous types of building materials, numerous types of food products, and garden products are the simplest and require the least amount of processing material or machinery. Now, overseas they're producing, and I work all around the globe. I don't work just purely in Australia. I'm a consultant to companies in Hong Kong, China, Europe, New Zealand, places in the South Pacific who are
all these places are making products out of hemp.
Yeah, pretty much.
So wait. So you mean America is like back in the dark ages and dragging its feet? It is the last to come on board.
Is that a surprise?
Well, yes, we're supposed to be the world's leaders.
Yeah. You once were, until the government, as you say, is dragging its feet and really, stopping it from happening. I mean, thankfully, the people are what count in any country, in my opinion, and the people are demanding hemp products. So hemp products are coming to North Americans. North Americans are realizing and recognizing that hemp is extremely important for themselves and their society. And I believe it's only a matter of time before you will be able to grow. And we won't be discussing, when will it be legalized? We'll be discussing, what's the next step? How do we do bigger and better? And it's my opinion that we should be preparing for that at this time, because it really is a matter of time. And it's, first in, best dressed, as they say. We've got to be ready for this time. And that's the way I look at it. I'm looking at, it's going to happen. I've seen it happen everywhere else. And there's only so long that they can say no, and before we just do it anyway.
When y'all are processing the hemp, do you use one of those decorticator machines to separate the fibers in the cellulose herds, or how do y'all do that? Do you do it by hand? How are y'all processing it?
Yeah, well, we are not using a decorticator in my personal crops. There are 2 decorticators being produced at the moment in this country for different uses. But I'm showing, my goal was to show the world that we can process and make hemp commercially viable without decortication. And there are a number of uses to do that. So I want to basically allow bring hemp to the people rather than allow again only hemp to people who have the $10
The thing I was thinking that even, of course, if it goes legal and mainstream, you're going to need machines like that because you'll be so much to process. But that just the very manufacturing and engineering and design and building of the machines to work the hemp is going to put people to work. I mean, that's going to be a boon to the economy just in itself. And I really do believe that that's the future, is not just in of course, the manufacturing of the products. That's going to put millions of people to work and all of that. But there's a lot of support help that's going to have to occur that doesn't even really have anything to do with the hemp other than the processing of it. So that's...
Are you talking about giving a bunch of unemployed auto workers jobs and unemployed steel workers jobs? Now, hush, you're going to scare the government there. They're going to have a boycott there. People are going to be demanding that we do this.
Yeah, they're going to start making the cars out of it like Henry Ford did way long ago, you know.
That's another aspect. Now, Paul, people don't realize that the plastic that comes from this plant, and you've seen it firsthand, is strong enough to be used as auto body. It isn't BMW and Volkswagen making their auto bodies with this type of material?
Yeah, you'll be surprised that most automotive manufacturers in the world now are actually using hemp for a lot of their internal car parts right now, and the potential it's not a joke. I mean, you really can make a car out of hemp, and you know, I've had a few people actually talk to me about doing that fully, making a full car from hemp, or pretty much most parts from it. It really can be done. And yeah, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the bioplastic side, which is quite a large subject, because there's hundreds of types of bioplastics or plastics in the world. And they all have different uses and different properties. And that's the kind of thing that I started to learn when I first got involved with hemp plastics in the mid-90s. I recognized I'd seen these videos of Henry Ford smashing a car with an axe, and the axe bouncing off and not even denting the car. And, you know, that was, he was my idol in those days, and still is, in from what he'd done in creating a phenomenal biocomposite and a biocomposite.
Well, with that said, I know that you can find a copy of that of Henry Ford doing that on YouTube, and would encourage people to go to YouTube and type in Henry Ford car, hemp car. You'll find it. And when we come back, I want to talk about the hemp plastics and imports and exports, and how it's going to not only generate incomes for people in one country, how it's going to generate incomes for people all around the world, which is where this broadcast is heard. I want to thank AmericanFreedomRadio.com for raising our voice and keeping us loud, proud, and strong. Please go to our sponsors. Let them know that you heard about them here on the program. And we're going to listen to a song about how fantastic marijuana is after the commercial break. And then we'll come back and take a whole lot more time for hemp.
Get your smoke on.
The Marin Alliance for Medical Marijuana is the longest-standing legally permitted medical cannabis dispensary in the nation. Licensed by the town of Fairfax in Marin County, California since '97, helps patients by providing high-quality medical marijuana and by protecting the patient's rights to have medical marijuana from a corrupt legal system that jails marijuana patients. Despite the successful passage of Prop 215, the Marin Alliance for Medical Marijuana has a team of lawyers to help rescue patients and straighten out their problems as part of their compassionate services. If you need help getting access to medical marijuana, then contact the Marin Alliance for Medical Marijuana by going to cbcmarin.com or calling 415-256-9328. The Marin Alliance for Medical Marijuana is open 7 days a week, so call them today and get your medicine. Lynette Shaw is also available for consulting. That number again is 415-256-9328. Medical Cannabis Journal is a quarterly medical marijuana magazine. Medical Cannabis Journal consists of vital patient information, contacts, a clinical directory, journalistic quality articles, editorials, reports, patient testimonials, and features that are also included on the website. To keep patients educated on this wonderful, miraculous plant. The format of Medical Cannabis Journal is approximately 100 full-color pages, printed on high-quality, earth-friendly papers. You can also stay informed by either going to medicalcannabisjournal.net or follow Medical Cannabis Journal on Facebook to stay up to date. If you need cannabis for medication, then this is the journal you need to read. Medical Cannabis Journal, your medical cannabis resource.
Warning. Warning. American. Warning. American Freedom Radio is habit forming. American Freedom Radio is habit forming. Use the truth carefully. carefully.
Watch the clock to smoke your pot. You should know you're not alone. If your grass is like molasses hydro-grown, that gets you stoned. If you're counting the hours, watching the minutes, for that special time when everyone hits it, take it from me, you're really not that far away. And roll me something fat and long, pack me a bowl, or fill me a bomb. It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. It's 420 somewhere. This smoke break is gonna make my afternoon when I get high. Even if it's my last bud, I'll smoke it up. It'll be alright. I've been sitting here waiting for what seems like a year. My Jamaican connection said he'd meet me here. If the phone's for me, tell him he better be on his way. Roll me something fat and long, pack me a bowl, fill me a bomb. It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. It's 420 somewhere. I spent all my cash, replenished my stash, but it's only 1:45. At a moment like this, I can't help but wonder, what would Willie do? He'd say to fire that thing up. Roll me something fat and long, pack me a bowl, fill me a bomb. It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. Roll me something fat and long, pack me a bowl, fill me a bomb. It only comes twice a day, but I don't care. I don't care. It's 420 somewhere.
It is 420 somewhere. That is why we always say, here it is, time for Hemp, and you're listening live right now on AmericanFreedomRadio.com and on AM, FM stations all across America. Big shout out to all my friends in Germany. Thank you for your cards and letters. And always, I appreciate your emails. Just please write a little more English. Guten Tag. And I want to say thank you to Serious Seeds for being part of our advertising family, and all of my love to my friends there in Switzerland, Amsterdam, and the Netherlands. And we are on the program today with a new friend of ours from Australia, who has been working hard to teach America the truth about paper, fiber, fuels, and medications. And there is nothing quite like doing that, I must say. Paul, if you had one thing to say to people who are thinking about getting involved in a hemp industry, is it a good thing? Is it an economically sound investment? Is it maybe a shady business that might take your money?
It's the best thing you could ever do, and do it now.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, when it comes to importing and exporting products, is there a problem coming in and out of America with your hemp oils and your hemp plastics and your hemp seeds and that kind of groovy stuff?
No, and that's one of the things that a lot of people overlook. The fact that you can't grow hemp in North America doesn't stop you importing and exporting all the products made from it, i.e. creating a market. And when you are able to grow hemp as well, that's something that you need to know, is that the market has to be balanced with the products that you sell, so with the products that you grow. There's no point growing until there is a market and a market requires the manufacturing and the processing of that product. So it's like the chicken and egg situation. You don't want to grow too much without having enough of a market and processing in between. And you don't want to sell too much unless you know you've got enough that's going to be grown. And, there's also, there are limited seed supplies. If you wanted to grow, 3% of North America's crop, or existing crops out of industrial hemp, you would have to work on getting the seed and upscaling the seed availability, which can happen, of course, and only takes a few years, but it does take a few years. So we have to work on it at one stage at a time. And I guess that's why I decided to share my knowledge through my courses at starterhempbusiness.com. And with everyone nationally about explaining very specific steps that I've learned that has to be taken to make a successful hemp business. And that can be anything. It doesn't mean that you have to grow or you have to process or you have to market this product or that product. It's for anybody, and it's pretty much basic business advice that I've learned along the way in my 17 years of experience working with industrial hemp in pretty much every continent of the planet.
Yeah, as Carey said, it's got its side industries, and Carey, pass it to you just a second here.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at your 3 websites, and I'm just getting the impression that darn near every creature comfort that a human being needs can be produced from this one plant. Carey?
Well, and anything they make from oil, you can make from the hemp stalk. And the thing about this, the joke of it all, our country had 200 years of growing hemp in this country. It was the main industry that we had, and we just threw that away because once they made alcohol legal, they needed another prohibition and to put all those federal agents to work. So they immediately after alcohol went illegal, they started working on making hemp illegal because they could see the writing on the wall. But we threw away an industry that back then was over $1.5 billion a year in the 20s and 30s. So, do the math today. They talk about Obama's plan of $400 million to put people back to work, and they said, that would put about 1 million or 2 people back to work. If you made hemp legal today, you would put immediately 10 million people back to work today. And that's the joke of it. This country is so stuck on our kids getting a hold of marijuana, which is a joke in itself, that we're going to give up something that really could pull America out of its economy doldrums. I mean, we use 20 million barrels of oil a day in this country. That's about $1 trillion a year. What if we put that money made our fuel out of hemp oil, which could easily be done? It was being done way back when. It's been known for a long, long time. How many people? Why are we allowing a government to be not only so stupid, but also try to dumb us down and make us seem stupid? I don't get it.
Well, good question. And, Paul, that brings to task, how many jobs have you noticed being created from the hemp industry in the various countries that you're going to?
Well, pretty much at the moment, every day I'm speaking with somebody and giving them a job. Literally, yesterday, because it's now 4:20 in the morning here, yesterday I gave 2 people a job who are coming next week for training. And, it's just, and it's not just me personally, of course, because there's all the people I'm training up are teaching other people and employing other people. So it's happening. It's actually happening now, or hempening, as we would like to say here.
Now your research arm, the arm that you use for research, who are you working in research with? What types of research are you doing, and what are you finding?
Well, the research that I'm involved with now, there's not much. Okay, the research mainly is in upscaling the production and creating larger commercial ventures for different specific uses. So, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, there was a study commissioned for the use of hemp and biofuel, so creating biofuel from hemp. Now, we all know that can be done, and a lot of people know how that can be done. However, we wanted to know how it really can be done using the best engineers that we have on the planet. Why do it half scale? So we went to Europe and got commissioned an amazing study to be done. which has shown really how we can make hemp biofuel on a massive scale.
Yeah.
Now that plant hasn't been built yet, but we now have the engineering available to us where we're ready to go and raise the cash and find the partners to create that kind of thing. And that's the kind of research that I enjoy doing for companies, with companies at the moment.
Well, that's I made hemp fuel in the 70s. It's very simple to do. And I just don't get this country. We want to be the dumbest country on the planet. And the fact that all these countries around the world that don't even have the resources or even the level of educated public that we have in this country, and then we're just going to sit by and pretend that this is just some sort of joke. I mean, I was talking to a law enforcement officer about the hemp, just the hemp part, not even talking about the marijuana. We were just talking about the hemp, and he said, "Oh, you don't believe all that? That's some hippies made up in California." And I kind of looked at him like, "Well, so you're denying the history of this country? I mean, get real. This, they were making 50,000 products out of hemp back in the 30s. From dynamite to paper. It's insane."
Well, I mean, I'm really glad to say that that there are some a great North American companies that I'm starting to work with now, who are really putting their money where their mouth is and actually taking action in North America and around the world with different hemp products. I think I've got a link to one of those on hempowered.com, which is my website, which describes all the different uses of industrial hemp. It's kind of my free information website. And, there's some great business opportunities for people in North America to get involved with companies that are selling food products right now, but are actually investing in and diversifying into a great range of different industrial hemp businesses in production and manufacturing. And, the North American company that I'm working with is because you can't grow in North America, they're coming and giving us jobs here in Australia. So, so I'm not complaining too much about what the government's doing from that perspective. But
the United States is great about giving our jobs to the other countries.
Yeah. It's my understanding that even Pampers is being made out of hemp or part hemp now, and has been for a long time. There's a lot of products now that I think people in our country would be surprised are being made out of hemp and freely and regularly used in other continents.
Indeed. So, there are real opportunities, and there are ways that people can get involved in North America and overseas in different ways. I think a lot of I don't know how long we've got till the next break, but I really would love to get into the bioplastics conversation, which I know a lot of people have been wanting to hear about, and it's an exciting subject. And as we've said, it's
We'll kick that off now. We've got a couple of minutes, and when we come back, we'll finish up where we left off.
Yeah, sure. Well, bioplastics, as I mentioned earlier, they're different types, and I've been involved with a number of different types. I'll start with one before the break, and we'll go into the other after the break. The one I'd like to talk about first maybe is the most commercially viable one today, and it's available today, which is a biocomposite blend. When I first created a plastic example called the High Fly, which was a frisbee made from 25% hemp. And I done that as an example of what could be done working with some technicians in the UK, actually, in North Wales. And we created this biocomposite of 25% hemp. And it still used 75% polypropylene. But it was the first step in the door, so to speak, and it was my showing, well, look, at least we're converting 25% of this into hemp, which, if you know how much bioplastic or plastics are used in the world, that's a considerable amount if it was to be used. And we made frisbees for lots of different companies. People like Sensi Seeds in Amsterdam bought theirs, and different food companies bought their frisbees and stamped their name on it, and that was fun and exciting project. I wanted to take that out to as many people as possible, so we made a CD tray next. And I thought that CD tray was a great idea because we could then go and market this to, great musicians. And I focused on the biggest musicians I could contact, people like Madonna, Sting, Michael Franti, people who all were singing about all of these, great uses of the environment and how we should care for our planet. a number of people and movie stars, hoping that they would put their money where their mouth is and, pay the extra 10% of a product that it cost at the time.
Right.
And use some hemp plastic in their product and tell all their fans. That was when I really learned about the commercial aspects and the fact that none of them supported it because it cost 10% extra. So, I learned a big strong lesson there is that, wow.
Wow.
The polypropylene can be made from the hemp. You don't even have to use the oil pop that's the polypropylene made from oil. You can make it right from the hemp, so it could be 100% from the hemp.
Yeah. Well, it can, and it has taken me many, many years to get near that stage.
Yeah, basic organic chemistry.
Well, I need to jump in here, and we're going to take a commercial break and pay our bills. And with that said, maybe it's time for us to take a look at how we spend our money on the markets, too, when we go to buy music, because if the people who smoke it can't get behind it, maybe we should let them know, hey, you need to stop for a minute, let the whole world know that it really is time for hemp.
Serious Seeds is your source for quality cannabis and sativa seeds. Serious Seeds are the creators of legendary strains like AK-47, Bubblegum, Chronic, Cali Mist, and White Russian. The AK-47 is probably the most avoided strain on the planet. The high THC content of AK-47 makes it the perfect medical strain for patients seeking quick pain relief. Cali Mist is an almost pure sativa. Female medical cannabis patients have reported that this strain helps relieve menstrual cramps. Serious Seeds just acquired another Dutch high-quality seed bank, Magus Genetics. From now on, Serious Seeds can offer you even more award-winning strains. The fine folks at Serious Seeds strive to breed the best cannabis genetics that they can find, so patients can rely on the effectiveness of their medicine. Go to SeriousSeeds.com to grow your medicine. That site again is SeriousSeeds.com.
Take a letter to the president.
Letter to the president. Yes, man. Legalize it. Decriminalize it. Benhaim and Mr. Banton will advertise it. Sensimila. Me send a letter to the residents of the president with a stamp on the front saying very urgent. The message inside went something like legalize it. Sensimila. Sensimila is a herb that grows naturally, just like any other plant or tree. Natural as the birds, natural as the bees, and just like them, sensi ought to be free to be grown anywhere that we please, in the city, in the town, and in the country, in the hills and in the valley. Sensi should be there for everyone to see. Me send a letter to the residents of the president with a stamp on the front saying very urgent. The message inside went something like legalize it. Sensi meal to call sensi a drug is very absurd. It should be known as a natural herb. So much diseases sensi has cured. That's why doctors use it all around the world for glaucoma and fever, rheumatism, arthritis and asthma, insomnia, emphysema, and to block epileptic seizure, to alleviate pain and nausea associated with the AIDS and cancer. Some say it is the best stress reliever. Lord knows I'm a believer. So give me the ganja cookie and the herbal tea. Sensimila is irate. I don't care what no government say. Sensimila is okay. Me ganja cookie and me herbal tea. Sensimila is irate. I don't care what no government say. Sensimila is okay. Yes, man. Legalize it now. Legalize it. Ha ha ha. Legalize it. Letter to the president. Legalize it. Letter to the president. legalization, decriminalization, and emancipation for all those sentenced to incarceration for participation with the healing of the nation. It's just another case of political insanity, abusing the rights of humanity. But we should all plant a seed of the sweet that we need to avoid an ecological calamity. We can use it for paper to save some trees, use it for fuel to save some seas, use it for medicine to help fight disease, and use it for food when we're hungry. So give me the ganja cookie and the herbal tea. Sensimilla is irate, I don't care what no government say. Sensimilla is okay. The ganja cookie and the herbal tea. Sensimilla is irate, I don't care what no government say. Sensimilla is okay. Me send a letter to the residents of the president with a stamp on the front saying very urgent. The message inside went something like legalize it. Sensimilla, legalize it. The way medication, Lord, the way meditation, boy, throughout the nation, legalize it. Yes, we Sensimilla. Yes, from Downing Street to DC, time to paint the White House green. You know what I mean? Scene. Let it to the president. Let it to the president. Let it to the president. Let it to the president.
Yo, what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Get your smoke on, everybody gather round.
Loud, be proud, let everybody know that you are a marijuana smoker. Come out of the closet, get involved. There are initiatives going on all around the country. There are politicians running to make a difference. Put your money where your mouth is. Get involved in an organization or start one because you know the truth. And as long as you're sitting there watching somebody try to figure out who's the next best talent in whatever country you're in, hey, you're just part of the problem. Become part of the solution. Get involved. On the program today, we are talking to Paul Benhaim from Australia and Carey Burns from America. I want to send my love to all of my friends there at Hayes Magazine in Argentina and, of course, Weed World Magazine in England and all of my friends in Canada because you are listening to Time for Hemp all around the world on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Paul, we could turn the whole world around and start building jobs, building an economy, and making the world a better place just by making plastic out of hemp. And golly, that would be a heck of an industry.
Indeed, indeed, and it is already growing now. From the CD cases that I talked about before, I've been working with a number of different people who've developed blends from moving up from 25% to now 75% hemp blended with other polypropylene and other similar products. They've also now developed on their own behalf over 15 years manufacturing capabilities for about 100 ton a year of hemp and PLA, which basically means it's completely bio-based, completely plant-based plastics. And they can, and these particular plastics are injection molded, so they can be used in regular injection molding machines, which is pretty much how most plastics are made standard around the world. So we can now sell them pellets. And there's a minimum of usually of about 2 ton of pellets you need to buy before everyone writes in saying, oh, well, let's buy a kilo of that and try a product. And, you know, the molding costs are relatively high, but people in the industry are aware that they can now buy these bio pellets from hempplastic.com and make any product that they like in a regular injection molding facility using regular injection molds. So I'm very happy to talk more about that later. But what I'd really love to get onto is where I moved on to a material that's actually 100% hemp. And this is a product that you'll probably be more interested in because it's literally 100% hemp. There's actually no glues, no resins. There's no heat used in the process. There's no big pressure used in the process, and it's literally 100% hemp. And it is this material which I found, which I didn't invent, but I found the inventor over in Europe. And subsequently persuaded him that I wanted to take that and make a business out of it. We raised $1 million and built a small factory, just a pilot plant here in Australia to produce this amazing material, which when you take hemp and you make it into like a porridge kind of thing, and then you put it onto a form and it dries and it becomes stronger than steel. So I had found the material that I had been looking for, that Henry Ford had given me inspiration of. I'd found this material and I worked to develop it commercially with a group of people that I put together. And this material is still being developed. It's still in developmental stage, but we are producing a few products from that today. Some people may have heard of the 100% hemp didgeridoos. We also sell bowls and small like stash boxes, I guess, and key rings at hempplastic.com. These are brand new products. The didgeridoos we've been selling for a while, but all these other products we only launched last week. And they're all one of a kind. They're all handmade in this one of a kind factory in the whole planet, where you can actually own a piece of this hemp plastic and show people that, you can smash a piece of concrete with one of these boxes. You can get it and whack a piece of concrete and it'll crack the concrete before it will crack this material, which is literally purely 100% hemp. And we had some, the only thing that we add to this hemp is some pigments, which are from the earth, natural eco pigments to give it some coloring and make it look like art pieces. But this is the kind of material that I envision many materials could be made from. We've produced over the time furniture, lighting. We've even made some temporary computer cases that can be made from this material. I envision the actual car bodies could be made from this material because it's so very, very strong. You could make building materials from it as well. This material is really the future.
It's like the carbon fiber.
It is very similar to carbon fiber. It's not as strong as carbon fiber because carbon is basically what everything is made up of. But carbon fiber requires significant amount of heat and energy to produce, and it is not sustainable in its production facilities. This 100% hemp material is run on a factory that runs by biodiesel, which could of course be run on hemp fuel. Should we have the capabilities of doing that, and solar. So, this is truly a sustainable material, and everything from the seed to the manufacturing to the end product, which when you finish with it, although we coat it in a wax and an oil to make it water resistant, but when you're finished with it, if you actually put it and leave it in the soil in the right conditions, it will go 100% back to the earth and will not harm or damage the earth in any way. It's 100% biodegradable. Yeah. It is a material that I'm extremely excited about. And I think if you touched and felt this material, you can feel that it's natural. You can feel that it's hemp, and it really is like nothing else. So
the other thing that people don't realize is that it's able to create everything from very thin plastics to thick plastics, and everything from something as smooth as silk to rough as canvas. So no matter what it is that you're trying to develop, whether it be cloth or something in the field of plastic or even oils, this plant has the ability to go from substance to substance. It's amazing.
I'm ashamed of the scientific world because this plant is so unique. There's not another like it. There's some out there that do produce several products and all that, but there's none that do it on near the level of what the hemp products, and like this product we're just talking about, the strongest steel. I mean, I'm ashamed of the scientific community for nothing else but for not giving light to this, because it is unique. And when you have something unique like that, you don't bastardize it and try to run it in the ground and arrest people and all. You embrace it and let it become part of society. Who wouldn't want something that was that environmentally friendly and that environmentally clean? It just goes to show you how these corrupt business people, these corrupt politicians and all, they are the problem, and we've got to get rid of them.
Well, one thing I think, too, helps if companies like John Deere realize how many people they can employ if they start making decorticators. Now, seriously.
It's a truth, Casper, I swear. Not just decorticators, but, I mean, there's a whole bunch of machinery that could be, technically designed specifically for processing hemp, and it would make it so simple, and then you could take ideas like Paul has there and all, and turn out all these products that would benefit society. And also, it would be cheaper for us, not more. It wouldn't be more expensive, but once you get something like that going and more people are using it, the costs come down. They don't go up.
That's 100% true. The 100% hemp plastic I'm talking to you about is literally 100% hemp. So you can grow this resource in 3 or 4 months. It costs nothing, basically. It costs just the real cheap farming of it, which you can get 20 tons per the hectare here. Sure. And John Deere have been working on hemp processing machinery, just for your information. So
wow. Now it says that every time you turn around, you got to pay a license. You got to pay a license. You got to pay a license.
Ridiculous.
It sounds to me like there's people in your country who are still afraid of this plant and hell bent to keep it down. Now, what benefit is it for them to do that?
Well, the only benefit for them to do that is to make money, which, at this time, I'm not objecting to. I'm saying, well, at least we can do it.
Well, I know, but we still should object. It's just like our government when they regulate everything. They do it intentionally because they want those businesses to fail. They're not in the business of trying to get a new idea and making it happen and create jobs. They're in the opposite of that. So that's why they regulate things to death. I would say start complaining about those. Say, look, this is a natural product. You have no right to tax a product that comes from the earth like that. You make me have all these stupid laws just because you're reverting back to the marijuana laws, basically, is what they're doing.
I got to jump in here. We're down to about a minute. Paul, we're going to have you back as a guest in another couple of weeks. There's so much more we want to cover. I've got a lot of instant messages from people around the world who want to have you back as a guest. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk more about buildings, more about plastics even, and more about hemp building and hemp foods, which is my personal passion and why I got involved with hemp at the beginning. So there is so much to talk about.
How about 2 weeks from today?
That's possible. I have to check my calendar, but I'll confirm that very shortly. In the meantime,
the audience, that way the audience kind of knows to look for you, so they know to tune back in and not miss you. Want to give everybody a chance to give a shout out to websites. So, Paul.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'd love, those hemp plastic items, you can buy like a keyring now for just like $10 and have a piece of 100% hemp in your pocket. And you can get that and all the information about hemp plastics at hempplastic.com. That's all one word, HEMPPLASTIC.com. You can find out all about the American business opportunities on the front page of Hempowered, which is hemp and then Howard, or powered with HEM on the front of it, HEMPOWERED.com. And if you're interested in starting your own hemp business and you're really serious about it, then have a look at the resources that I spent about a year producing not so long ago and only just finished at startahempbusiness.com. That's all one word, startahempbusiness.com. And that's there to support people so that everyone can make money and be successful in the way I have done in all these different projects that I've been involved with. I want to share that love because we need to make...
We're heading out now, so we'll have you back in 2 weeks. Carey, CannabisCorner.com, is that it?
.us, CannabisCorner.us.
And you'll hear me next time. You'll know it's time for him.
Thanks, Carey. Thanks, Casper.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Great show.
Thank you, guys.